there has been concern, even when we were going through the campaign, about how this may not be additive to the market or accretive to the marketplace on that front. And if that were going to be the case, or if that were the desire, we wouldn't have fought like crazy to make sure these are in downtown urban locations. There's a big difference between locating it here or in a suburban location or whatever. It's certainly a lot easier in terms of with a suburban site to that extent. But it's really about how is this integrated within the downtown fabric of what's taking place and working on that front. When you look at the Q, Progressive Field, Brown Stadium, generates about 4 million visits annually. So we got about 20,000 tonight, which is good. And we see how town comes alive when that happens. And with the casino, that's projected to generate 8 million visits annually. So think about that. You take those three facilities, double the visits, and that's what the casino will generate annually. And that's another added amenity. When you look at the convention center that's coming online, and as positively Cleveland will tell you, when you look at the amenities that convention goers look at and look for, because they come for their convention, but now they're looking to have fun. They're looking to engage in an urban marketplace. Amongst the top on the list is an urban casino. So it becomes another asset for us in terms of marketing Cleveland as a destination marketplace to come to. Also, amongst the research that we saw through the different research, we looked at $656 million annual economic impact for Cuyahoga County through the casino. The tax policy itself is weighted, as I said previously, to the urban marketplaces. So when you look at the tax monies that would flow in, they would be distributed on a per capita basis to the 88 counties in Ohio. So Cuyahoga County, by virtue of being one of the largest, being the largest county in the state, would receive a larger share than, say, Geauga County. Also, on a relative to schools on a primary basis, K through 12, on a per student basis, there would be a distribution on that end. There's also that's on a per student basis. The key component, which again is weighted to the urban markets, so it's coming locally to the counties, but for the counties with the 8 largest cities in Ohio, Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Youngstown, and Northeast Ohio, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Toledo. The monies would then be split on a 50-50 basis between the county and the city, so there'd be self-determination of those dollars within the city. And then in addition, for the 4 casinos that are cities that have casinos, there's a 5% host tax as well. So what does that mean when you look at the tax projections done by both our third-party consultants as well as by the state of Ohio? That translates to about $30 million annually for the city of Cleveland, and about 18 for Cuyahoga County, 18 million, and then 22 million for the schools of Cuyahoga County, of which CMSD would be the primary beneficiary based on having the largest student base. So those are dollars, again, that can be utilized, as it could be bondable dollars as well, because it is a constitutional amendment, and can be utilized as a catalyst for any number of projects from an economic development and perspective, whether it be the redevelopment of Public Square or whatever case that may be. So we looked at that as, when you start to layer it on, location, jobs in downtown, and we're projecting 4,000 construction jobs and 4,000 permanent jobs that would be generated through the casino. So you have that, and then the tax dollars, the 33% tax rate on top-line revenues, that's not counting income tax or sales tax or CAT tax or property tax or any other taxes generated from that. And so you can see how it additively works together to create that type of impact. The jobs themselves, we've committed to the local marketplaces that 90% in each of the respective marketplaces, the jobs would come from the metropolitan areas of those markets. So this would be a job engine for the marketplace as well. And like I mentioned, this would not be a bunker. So our objective is to get this as close as possible to the urban fabric of the market. We've committed not to have a hotel as part of that, because Cleveland right now has 48% occupancy rate within the marketplace. So how do we become an engine along with the convention center to build occupancy rate? Ultimately, we need hotels here. There's no doubt about it, to attract larger event activity. We are, just to give one quote from Dan, and this is sort of our guiding light, and this was, he said this at a recent speaking engagement, that the ultimate measure of our success will not be just how well the casino does, but how it impacts downtown. And that's really been our guiding light with everything that we've done. We're very eager to hear your input, your thoughts, your ideas. Dennis and Eddie will be here throughout the night, taking down that input and feedback to be able to get back to us, as them being part of our team, getting back to our full team. And we know that the excitement is out there with the casino. And there's a lot of people who have thoughts and ideas, and we look forward to hearing every one of them. At the same time, I just want to put out there to also be able to temper some expectations. So, and Dennis, as Dennis can tell you, up through November 3rd, we spent 110, maybe 120% of our time making sure that this actually passed, and not a fraction of time in terms of thinking, well, it is going to pass and whatever, because ultimately, and Dennis, having run a number of times for elected office, there's one regret you would have if you ever would lose is there another person I could have talked to that actually present the benefits of this? And ultimately we did that, and fortunately we've been successful. So since that's happened, not only the ongoing process going on and taking place in Columbus to ultimately get us to a licensing stage, but we've started our process and assembling our team. And really, we take this responsibility with great gravity as making the best decision. The beauty of it is going back to what I said earlier, with 39 states already having gaming and markets having many, many different casinos, there's a number of qualified entities out there in this space on that end, but we feel like we're making progress and working on that front. And it's very key because ultimately, as we have that operator, they will have an influence as well in terms of the aesthetics, the operation, the layout, all of those components to make sure that we operate much like you would expect at the Q, that we operate a professional environment and one that serves the market well from that end. We're also working through a process of doing due diligence on the site itself, trying to understand the environmental, the physical, logistical challenges associated with it. So as those processes dovetail together, we're in better position to be able to execute and move forward. We're still projecting that we'll have a groundbreaking, all being well, later in 2010. With ultimately opening in 2013, early hopefully in 2013 on that front. We've been approached by various elected officials about the prospect of opening a temporary casino and asking us to consider that interim solution to get tax revenues to get to work more quickly here in Northeast Ohio, and especially in Cleveland in particular. And while we're looking at that viability, regardless, we're committing to investing more than $600 million here in the Cleveland Casino project, as Dan has put out before, to make sure this is a first-class destination and entity from that end.